Hi, so our group will be talking about the International Rescue Committee in Dallas, Texas. We're going to go over a couple things about the organization, its strengths, where it can improve, and how social workers play a major role in these kind of organizations and in the community. So first we'll jump into a little bit of the history of the International Rescue Committee. It was founded at the call of Albert Einstein in 1933. The IRC is now at work in over 50 crisis-affected countries, as well as communities throughout Europe and the Americas. Um, each year, thousands of people are forced to flee violence and persecution, and are welcomed by the people of the United States into the safety and freedom of America. These individuals have survived against incredible odds, and the IRC works with government bodies, civil society actors, and local volunteers to help them with their mission. Some services that are provided by the International Rescue Committee are presented here on the poster, which we'll jump into as well. So the focus of the IRC is to support in 5 areas: ensuring safety from harm, improving health, increasing access to education, improving economic well-being, and ensuring people have the power to influence decisions that affect their lives. They also address the unique needs of women and girls, and other barriers to progress everywhere that they work. For the services that are provided, um, the IRC provides community integration and development, which means strengthening communities and preparing individuals to participate fully in American society. Resettlement, which means meeting the basic needs for food, shelter, and legal rights in the early stages and critical stages of resettlement. Economic services, like protecting, supporting, and improving the household livelihoods and financial security of these individuals and families. Extended case management, which promotes the wellness and ensuring access to healthcare services up to 5 years after their arrival. Mental health services, which they help connect clients with social emotional support and other services within the IRC and throughout the community. And immigration services, which provide assistance with adjusting immigration status, citizenship, and family reunification. The International Rescue Committee helps people affected by humanitarian crisis, including the climate crisis, to survive, recover, and rebuild their lives. The IRC in Dallas has been invested in the Dallas community since 1975 and has resettled over 26,000 refugees. I also put in a little snippet of the impact that the IRC has had in the Dallas area so far, which I thought could be useful to see how many people they really serve in these communities. Their target population is usually people who are refugees, asylum seekers, and people affected by the crisis to survive, recover, and rebuild their lives. So we're going to go ahead and then jump into the assessment of the IRC in Dallas, Texas. Texas is the #1 on the top 10 states for resettling refugees, according to the National Immigration Forum fact sheet. So according to the Southern Methodist University report, Dallas, Texas is one of the largest resettlement locations in the United States, with multiple refugee resettlement agencies and refugee serving organizations like the IRC. Over 11,000 refugees have resettled between October 1st, 2019 and September 30th, 2020. Refugees are provided short-term support once arriving to the United States and are expected to become self-sufficient as quickly as possible. So the Southern Methodist University report kind of jumps into the barriers that refugees face, which is listed here on the poster as well. And I listed them below to show all the barriers that they are facing and how the IRC plays into this. So the IRC provides services for the lack of financial literacy and larger amounts of money. They also provide services that help with appropriate size housing for large families, for healthcare access, and for mental health education. But clearly there's only so much that the IRC can address. They definitely have a commitment to the impact they make in the Dallas area, but there's always going to be certain gaps within these organizations because it is such a large community in Dallas, Texas. IRC can only handle so much. So clearly the high volume of refugees moving into the Dallas area has impacted the IRC, which has raised some concerns. Even though the IRC is an established organization and has significant experience and expertise in supporting this population, and they offer wraparound services and 5 years of case management, and they also engage in advocacy work, there are some barriers that they're facing within themselves as an agency. So the Office and Professional Employees International Union states that the IRC in Dallas had approximately 80 workers unionized due to the insufficient staffing, unreasonable caseloads, low wages, safety concerns, and inadequate interpretation support. The IRC really needs to consider the challenges they face with resource allocation, and adequate resources are essential for maintaining services to meet the needs of clients, as well as effective language access for refugees. Ongoing staff training and professional development is also essential to be able to provide the most effective and meaningful services to this population.
All right, and now we'll move on to the assets of the organization. And so just a summary of this organization's assets. Their assets include like a community of supporters. So with the help of these supporters and advocates around the world, the RRC is able to act on its mission to help those who are impacted by humanitarian crisis. And the different types of supporters can be volunteers, corporate partners, monthly donators, charity streaming, and refugee sponsors. And then we also have the ambassador program, which is listed on here with all of these ambassadors. They're influential people like actors, actresses, comedians, people with a platform. And so they spread awareness across their platforms using their following to advocate for the 340 million people in humanitarian need. And so just a few of these ambassadors include George Clooney, Aisha Tyler, Rami Malek, John Legend, and Ebony Obsidian. And so ways that they can increase leadership and organizational skills within the organization. So firstly, just since this organization is like a worldwide organization and it impacts many countries and communities across the world, I feel like education across all platforms amongst the employees is very important, just because they may be dealing with clients or maybe having to like forward clients to different parts of the organization, and they would just need to be knowledgeable, have like at least a basic knowledge of like the other of how the organization functions in other countries and other communities. And also it's important that they set clear goals with steps of completion, just to have like a clear idea of what is to come in the organization, and just like a clear set of goals, maybe like yearly goals, just to keep their goals, their goal setting going. And also develop an organized workspace, so like using platforms across the organization, like SharePoint, where you can share files on one platform. I feel like that would make it more organized and easy to find a lot of the files that are needed in the organization.
All right, and then next we're going to be talking about implementing change within the agency. So what is agency empowerment? So agency empowerment looks like the ability to pursue agency goals while still enabling people's success within the agency. As mentioned earlier, there's a lot of struggles with staff turnover, high caseloads, low wages, things like this. And by empowering the agency, we would be able to give them the tools that they need to support their staff. So how does this look like in the IRC? So first, we need to assess. So we need to assess their current accessibility to services and resources. This includes possibly speaking with previous clients about their experience with the IRC. Next, we would also need to assess staff support. So obviously, there are a lot of examples of ways that staff feel unsupported. such as low wages and high caseloads. So we need to assess how we can better help the staff. Of course, this may be determining what policies in the agency are in place that are causing these incapabilities, whether that be budget or funding or just the lack of social support within the agency. Finally, to implement this change, we need to implement agency support. So this looks like possibly providing services to staff. We also may need to implement policy change that may regulate caseloads or regulate wages. And we also need to evaluate the services that we are providing and the amount of staff that we have. So this also may look like forming new alliances. So this will be like going into the community and seeking meetings with organizations, and offering resources or opportunities that we have as an organization to maybe build a relationship so we can collaborate with other agencies. And it's really important that when we are out in the community that we have knowledge of the other agencies' opportunities, because it's essential to form a relationship where both parties can bring something to the table. The social work approach to this looks like empowering the organization by assessing and evaluating the current capabilities the agency has. And a social worker would assess staff support and execution the staff is being able to implement. So with this agency, we would evaluate them using a needs assessment, and we possibly would survey former clients if possible. I know we mentioned some interpretation. So that is one thing we would definitely need to work on first, is finding more resources and making connections with other agencies so we can better assess, or we can better help our staff and our clients. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you.